Well, people, I got a letter in the mail today from the United States federal government, United States District Court, as a matter of fact, direct of Minnesota, Office of the Clerk, Duluth, Minnesota, addressed to me. So, as I said in my last video, I was going to tell you about some court cases I had. I had a couple federal court cases. I'm not dealing with county or puny city court or any of that. I'm not dealing with the county court. I'm dealing with federal court because of where I live at. I live in Fort Snelling, which is not part of any city jurisdiction. I deal with the Veterans Police, which are part of the Homeland Security Police Department. So anyway, Officer Swanky on January 2nd said that he had seen me driving without a license. He told the court where he said he saw me. He told the court that he clearly saw me in my automobile, which was a lie because I was actually in bed asleep. And I even said that in court. Now, federal court is different than county court. County court, you're still kind of innocent until you're proven guilty. In a federal court, you're guilty until you prove yourself innocent. And even if you have evidence to prove that you're innocent, the judge will more than likely find you guilty, especially when they're dealing with police officers and federal police. They're always going to side with those guys, and those guys can never do any wrong. So you're in an abnormality court, or you're in a court that is under martial law when you're in a federal court. Civilian courts are a little different. Now, I wasn't trying to get a new trial at all. What I was trying to do, I was trying to get the judge to see that that Officer Swanky had made a mistake. I didn't want to call Officer Swanky a liar because, you know, you don't want to do that. But Officer Swanky had made a mistake. He said I was driving without a license and he could clearly see me when actually I was in bed asleep. He had absolutely no proof other than he saw, he said. Actually, yeah, he saw, he said. Evidence, which is he said he saw me. He didn't stop me. He didn't pull me over. He didn't write me a ticket till about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It was supposed to have been 10 o'clock in the morning when this happened. Now, when I wrote the letter to the judge who was over my case, I sent her some photographs to prove that it wasn't possible that Officer Swanky saw me. It was not possible that he could have seen me. Now, I got this letter back from the judge. It says, the court finds that Mr. Jenkins is not entitled to a new trial based on newly discovered evidence. He has failed to show that the evidence he provided the court after the trial was only discovered after the trial had concluded and that the due diligence would not have revealed the evidence at an earlier time. That's right, I could have found this evidence out sooner, but I didn't know that I was even going to be going to trial that day. They fucked me over. If I would have known what was going to happen, I would have told the judge, Your Honor, I need time to prepare. Can you please set another court date? And I would have got all these photographs together. I would have brought them into court, and I would have asked Mr. Swanky on the photograph, I would have said, is this where you were at? Yes. Is this where I was supposed to have been at? Yes. You're telling me all that distance, it's possible that you clearly saw me sitting in my automobile? If he would have said yes, I would have looked at him and I said, you're a damn liar. And you know you're a liar. That's way too much distance to clearly see anybody. So they also wrote, they said, it also appears that Mr. Jenkins's post-trial evidence is merely cumulative of his testimony that he was not driving or could be used for the purpose of impeaching Officer Swanky. Now, that's the key. Impeaching Officer Swanky. They're afraid that my evidence would impeach him and show that he lied on the stand. Now, I don't want to say he lied. I want to say that he made a mistake. That it's possible that he could have been wrong, but he didn't believe so. But he was wrong, and he knew he was wrong. It says here, either reality means it is not a basis for a new trial. Officer Swanky, either reality means it is not a basis for a new trial. Finally, the character of the evidence does not create a likelihood of acquittal. The court also finds that Mr. Jenkins is not entitled to a new trial on the ground that the verdict is contrary to the weight of the evidence. The only evidence he had was, I saw him sitting there. That's the only evidence he had. I saw Mr. Jenkins sitting there in his automobile. That is the only evidence that he had. The photographs with Mr. Jenkins provided with his March 16th, 2018 trial email, including his markup of those photographs, attempt to demonstrate that Officer Swanky could not have positively identified Mr. Jenkins at such a distance. The photographs Mr. Jenkins provided illustrate Mr. Jenkins' contention and attempts to buttress his trial testimony that his van was actually parked for the entire day. The court has considered these photographs and concluded that no miscarriage of justice occurred. Officer Swanky testified credibly and contemptibly at trial that he was familiar with Mr. Jenkins' van, that he knew Mr. Jenkins did not have a license, and that he personally observed Mr. Jenkins operating his van on the road. Post-trial evidence does not alter the court's conclusion that the government proved its case beyond a reasonable doubt. When I see Mr. Swanky, I'm going to sock him in the eye, and I will go to jail for assaulting a police officer, but it'll be worth it. I just want to let you know that in the federal court, you're fucked. And where I live at, I'm not represented by no one. The only people I can vote for is the President of the United States. I can't vote for anybody county. I can't vote for anybody city because I don't live in any city jurisdiction. We have our mail come from a city, but we can't vote for the mayor or the city council. I can't even vote for the judge. I can't even vote for the governor of the state of Minnesota where I live at because I'm not part of any city. I'm in an unregulated territory inside of a regulated territory. So, what are you going to do? I'm just screwed. Anyway, just wanted to get that off my chest. If anybody's had anything similar to that, please put a message in the comments. Thank you.